Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm happy to greet you at our meeting, Bridges for the Future, Polish and Ukrainian Science for Democracy Development.
We decided to open a program of mutual collaboration between the Polish groups and Ukrainian groups on the humanities and social sciences.
On behalf of the Embassy of Ukraine to the Republic of Poland, I would like to congratulate these organizers and participants of today's important international event. Panie prezesie, panie Macieju, dziękuję bardzo za wasze serce, za wsparcie, za obojętność, za to, że od początku pełnoskalowej agresji Rosji przeciwko Ukrainie jesteście z nami. Ta pomoc naprawdę nie ma precedensu.
In response to the tragic events in Ukraine, the Foundation for Polish Science, in the gesture of solidarity with Ukrainian scientific community, decided to launch a new initiative, the Polish-Ukrainian Cooperation Program in 2022. 2 calls were held in 2022, and the foundation funded 6 projects. The first call was announced the 1st of March, which was really quick response. We received 73 applications and funded 3 projects. The second call was announced in the same year. This time, 101 applications were submitted, making it challenging to select the top 3. The next call was announced exactly after the year of Russian invasion. 82 applications were submitted. In 2024, we implemented some changes based on our assessment and conversations with the Ukrainian scientific community. Today, we will hear directly from the project leaders about what they achieved so far. The 5th call is launching in 2 days, and we are organizing a webinar for potential participants.
Good morning, everybody. I'm very pleased to have this opportunity to moderate this first panel of our conference. Thanks for invitation to take part in this important event, and let me invite splendid panelists who will take part in this discussion. Miss Agata Wierzbowska-Miazga, please come up to the stage. Miss Wierzbowska-Miazga is the President of Management Board of Leaders of Change Foundation. Dr. Piotr Kępski, Director of the Office of Programs for Institutions from the Polish National Agency for Academic Exchange. Professor Marek Konarzewski, President of the Polish Academy of Sciences. And last but not least, Professor Henryk Litwin, historian from University of Warsaw, but also a diplomat who served many years as an ambassador in Kyiv. Welcome.
We've built, in fact, very wide and intensive infrastructure of Polish-Ukrainian relations, not only in the field of science, but of course culture, interregional relations, etc., etc.
The moods in the society are changing, and there will be some ups and downs, and then support will somehow change, fluctuate. But I think we need Ukrainians, they need us. There are a lot of common interests that bind us together. So I think it is a very optimistic, let's say, perspective for the future.
Thanks for reminding us that so much depends on us, that we don't need to wait for politicians to decide in our names, that we can do a lot in our institutions, in ourselves. So thanks a lot for this. Thanks for your intervention.
Our project focused on studying Ukrainian visual political communication during the first year of Russia's aggression. Our hypothesis was that Ukrainian public institution try to design the image of a new, modern and civic society. As a result, we created an online archive with more than 500 visual units.
Through our work, we have uncovered the image of culture in a post-dependence situation, seeking its own strategy of political communication between East and West.
My name is Magdalena Szyszko, and I will take you to different aspects of communication, because I'm going to discuss the communication of monetary policy by the National Bank of Ukraine. And so first of all, the project aim monetary policy effects, short-run effects during the invasion. Well, basically, if someone asks if the monetary policy is effective, it's very easy to verify.
I survived the Nazis, I will survive the Russians, the Second World War and the Holocaust in the current Ukrainian discourse on the ongoing Russian-Ukrainian war. The main aim of the project is to analyze and interpret various forms of representations that constitute the Ukrainian public discourse on the current war, that link it with the imaginary of the Second World War and the Holocaust.
This civil society image, how much is it grassroots? And how much was it controlled and built by people in the government or somewhere that knew that they need to work on propaganda, I would even say, because it's very important for the war, for winning the support outside and from mobilizing people inside.
What we observed from the very beginning of our project, it was that these values we gathered as civil society values were projected through social accounts and through institutions directly connected to President Cabinet and public institutions.
It's very interesting how memory about Second World War after 4 generations, formulate new narratives about the contemporary war.
The central bank effectiveness is not necessarily assessed by the lenses of whether they are able to gain international help, but it's enough to say that right now international reserves of Ukraine, they reach record levels.
Thank you very much.
The main purpose and the main idea behind our project was to gather together the representatives of Polish and Ukrainian community. We wanted to discuss about the same problems with the same institutions, such as the Supreme Court, Constitutional Tribunal, and also the National Council of the Judiciary.
Yeah, we elaborated the recommendations for the court how to improve the functioning. First of all, we're talking about the engagement of international experts, and also when it comes to the public, to civil society, I think that this is also a kind of experience which could be applicable in Poland.
Our research question was to what extent the coming from Ukraine children and youth are not only formally included at school, but also really take part of the school and really contribute and really participate in the learning process.
And various types of connections, and even the testimony in itself is about connecting past, present, and the future. Doing interviews amid the full-scale war is a certain psychological investment from different sides for a person who shares and also people who receive. And you have to be prepared to both share and receive. It's a lot about agency in detail. And I do believe that big concepts like democracy, like civil rights, like responsibility and resilience can be traced to very precise things that you can measure and do in your life.
In your opinion, what are the main challenges for meeting these demands for justice in the broadest sense?
when it comes to justice. If we are talking about justice in Ukraine, there is a huge social demand for justice. According to different surveys, we have a very low level of confidence to our courts. And I mean, in Ukraine, this is a huge problem.
Problem of the accountability makes, firstly, that we had to come back to the past and to talk about the former reforms that were in Ukraine and that were in Poland that are connected with the accountability. So this was a huge challenge.
I would expect more cooperation between the ministries of education between Ukraine and Poland. I know this cooperation was pretty good at the beginning of the full-scale war. In order to activate more social dimension of schoolwork, we need also quite systematic approach and kind of cooperation between at the top level.
Testimonies collected for justice have its own logic and the way of creation, and our testimonies are mainly for memory purposes. But if I can refer to experiences of my colleagues, for instance, Initiative Tribunal for Putin, they collected about 80,000 cases, which might be used as the court cases for accountability purposes.
Thank you very much, and a round of applause for our presenters.
Nasz projekt był bardzo interesujący. Jeszcze raz dziękuję wszystkim, tym ludziom, a to było bardzo dużo ludzi badanych i które robili różne warsztaty, treningi.
My name is Angela Popek. I'm from the University SWPS. I research children and youth with migrant and refugee background for years, but in this project we will particularly focus on the active life, on the active positioning, active civic life. We would like to study the civic engagement of young refugees, forced migrants from Ukraine in Poland, and internally displaced populations in Ukraine. We reach youth at the age of 15 up to 18 years old, and we do conduct individual interviews and talk about what makes them to get engaged in some civic activities, what those civic activities give to them, what is the purpose, and what are the results.
Full-scale attack, Russia on Ukraine on February 24, 2022, caused a wave of refugees. The project adopted an approach that sudden, unexpected, and at the same time, given that many Polish families took in refugees into their home, very intensive contact between Poles and Ukrainians after 2022 should be described in the terms of culture shock.
What actually are the positive effects also, whether you've seen what it gives to this volunteering, to these volunteers, not only these consequences that they have meeting people who have traumas, but maybe they also have some other, let's say, positive results from this?
Trzeba szukać nowe czynniki, które tę motywację jakoś aktywizują. Jakieś smysły nowe, jakieś wartości, jakieś organizacyjne rzeczy, tak, polityczne rzeczy. To się tak długo nie może utrzymywać, dlatego że jest adaptacja do wojny.
I think we are learning by doing that. Actually, we have volunteers, and then we understand that they are exhausted and they also need some support.
The idea was we all experienced. I know this is in a way non-comparable, but still it inspired us that after Polish entry to the European Union, many of our compatriots migrated to Great Britain and other countries, and then also started at a very low position. So this occupational downgrading was really significant, yes. And then this is absolutely and exactly what we observe for Ukrainian forced migrants in Poland.
What the youth is mostly struggling with and I think it's not new, it's the lack of integration with peers. So quite poor, weak relationships with Polish peers, if we are talking about refugees in Poland, what again makes it difficult to be, for example, elected by the majority at school to represent the school council.
I think all we at this room we know about the Orange Revolution, and it is something obvious for us. For young people born about 2006, 2007, 2008, it is old history, like this baptism of Poland. Yeah, it is the same past as this Mieszko I, for example, or Jarosław Mądry, and we should deal with it. We should know and be aware that this knowledge is really little in Poland, in Polish society also.
This was a fantastic discussion. I really love to hear when people are having different thoughts and they are fighting with each other, fighting in a good sense, of course. So thank you very much to Ukraine.